Okay guys, welcome back. Work is continuing on the 48 Ford Woody as seen in the TV series The Flying Nun. We've been working on cleaning up and making a couple of modifications to the body. As you can see here, all the white is where there was a seam line here and here across the front here. We got that all taken care of and smoothed out. I think we're going to be good to go. We had to remove the blinker lights that are on this side and that side. We got rid of those. They look nice and smooth. Got rid of the bump on the back that had the lug that held the spare tire. And then I wasn't going to, because it looked like it was going to be a pain in the butt, but I ended up doing it anyway, and that is the trim molding that goes here by my thumb. I ended up sanding that off, and that was pretty tedious. But every episode that I've been watching since I rediscovered the Flying Nun, I was mistaken. I guess I thought I had seen the molding there painted over, but I was wrong. What I've been noticing is that it actually is gone, but what you'll see is there'll be 4 holes here where it was bolted on originally. So originally the car had it, but it got removed at some point. So we've got that cleaned up. Next step is we're going to throw some primer on here, see how well of a sanding job we did. And the good thing is, if it's not exact, I mean, I'm going to just play it out, see how it happens, but if it's not exact, like there's actually a gouge right here now when I was using one of my chisels to take off the molding. I actually accidentally gouged it, but if I smooth it out a little bit more with the sanding and it's not perfect, it's okay, because if you look at the scenes that I showed earlier, the car wasn't perfect. You could see waves in it and it was beat up. You know, the car was about 30 years old when it was in the show, so it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. As a matter of fact, one of the scenes shows that this part of the roof actually had a dent in it. It was kind of sagging down a little bit. The bumpers are kind of curled in some other spots. So it's not perfect. So it doesn't have to be perfect either for me. So we're going to play that out. So we're going to take this out. We're going to wash it first, get some of the dust out of the cracks and grooves and everything from all the sanding, and then we're going to give it a paint primer again and see how we need to proceed from here. So stay tuned, be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. As you can see, the 48 Woody has exploded all over my bench. Kind of well, I'll just say mess. But anyway, we're working on a Woody, and this is where we are right now. We got ourselves a rolling chassis. What I did for this, in my mind's eye, a vehicle this old in the islands would be old and worn out, but there wouldn't be a lot of rust. It's not like a car from the the Rust Belt and everything in the States. A lot of moisture, snow and everything, salts and rusting it away, but everything would be blasé, black and grays. So that's what I attacked this with. I put it all together using charcoal gray from Craftsmart, or Ceramcoat. Okay, the charcoal. This was my favorite, probably my favorite go-to color when it comes to most chassis to begin with. But usually what I'll do is I'll also detail paint everything else in other colors to add interest to the vehicle and the model. In this case, I didn't. I just let it be all gray. And then some parts I also added, for a little bit of contrast, I added the metallizer exhaust. Again, it's a dark color, adds a little bit of difference. Most of that's on the exhaust itself, and then some of the other components. The front suspension in this kit is all individual pieces, so it's very, very fiddly. Matter of fact, I think that's loose right there, yeah. But everything is very fiddly, and when working with this kind of, which is cool, it really is, but with my ham-hock fingers, it makes it a little hard to put them in the right places, and there's not always markings or locations to put it. It's just like kind of like, glue it to it. There's no locating pins or anything like that, so it's a little fiddly. The engine was done in a very dark blue. I think I used deep sea blue for the color. That's what I looked online and I saw motors were back in that day. Again, keeping it dark, there'd be no distinction in the motor too much when it came to detail, color-wise. And then what I did also is going over everything, I would give it other coats with a brush in different areas just to look, you know, like patchwork. I didn't want it to be neat. I wanted it to be a blend of different things, and so it looked a little worn out, a lot worn out, whatever. But then what's going to happen is this floor will get added, and you'll see, you know, it's just all dark. So there's nothing much to it, and there is no rust. Now I might go back and put a little bit of rust on the exhaust system, just a tiny bit for wear, but otherwise there's not going to be any real rust all over the vehicle like some other vehicles I've done in weathered areas. So that's that. The wheels, as you can see, I did those in the same color as the body, and that's going to be this Hyacinthia purplish color. Okay, again, it's a craft acrylic. We did the wheels, and then we washed them with this ready-made wash. Okay, and it gave it that look that you see there. I think it looks pretty good, worn out. I might do a little bit more dusting to it later, but we'll have to see. But that's the wheels. Also, I sanded the treads on them with sandpaper. Just went around sanding it. Probably could have got more and actually made some wear marks in it, you know, like the front ends on the line or whatever. But I just dulled it down, and then I also sanded the sides. Okay, and then went over it with steel wool to get in the grooves and everything, just to give it that dull look. I didn't want any shiny wheels on here because, again, the car is old and battered and used by the sisters. So that's where we are with that. Next up, let me find a place to put this. Can't work with my bench like this, it's too messy. Next up is the body. Okay, again, using the Hyacinthia purple. Okay, we painted it, gave it an overall coating of the purple. Oops, there's some tape there. I have to take that off. But that's the color it is. Went back later, detailed the trim on it. As you can see here, I used my Prismatics silver pen to do that. I didn't want it to be chrome because the chrome would be too bright. You know, I've got the Molitor pens. It'd be too bright. The car in the show, you can see it was just kind of like dulled down, so I just went with the silver. A little bit of touch-up still need to be done, but I did that. The rocker panel, I did it with the steel color, just to add some contrast to it. Okay, that's what she looks like. Then also on the interior of the engine compartment, as you can see here, we went with with the yellowish. I was telling you it was going to be springtime yellow, I think is what I believe it was, or something similar to that. To get that color, I used this just pale yellow from Ceramcoat. Painted that in on the hood here, on the engine compartment. It was done, and on the firewall. And then after that, using the wash, I went along, washed it down, used it, spread it on with the brush, and used a paper towel and just kind of blotted it so it wouldn't wipe it all off, but just kind of like blotted it like this to give it a little aged look. I didn't want to just wipe it off, but it'll have that look. So now it looks a little worn. I'm going to have to shoot this with some dull coat to dull it down a little bit along with the hood, because it's got a little bit of a shine to it. And maybe somehow get it in the engine compartment too. Okay, but that's where we are with that. So we're coming along. It's looking pretty decent. If I take the chassis back again, I mean, there's not much to this. It's just this almost straight out of the box build. But that's what she's going to look like, basically. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The next day, Sister Bertrille drove the Reverend Mother into San Juan to catch the boat, with an unscheduled stop along the way.
Oh, that's the third flat this week. I think it's trying to tell us something.
Can you fix it, Sister Bertrille?
Yeah, I'll give it a whirl.
What are you doing?
I'm looking at the clock. It's the only thing in the car that works properly. That should give you an idea what a crazy car it is. Boy, I tell you, I've seen more rubber and elastic band. Just concentrate on having a good time.
Thank you, Sister.
Now, all we have to do is change this, put the spare on.
What was that?
Oh, I think it was a spare.
The spare went flat?
I told you it was a crazy car.